Welcome to our lesson on customer service. In the clinic, customer service isn't just about being polite. It's about ensuring that every patient has a positive experience, from the moment they walk through the door until well beyond the time that they leave. And those who work at the front desk play a crucial role in shaping their experience. In this lesson, we're going to go over the key aspects of delivering excellent customer service to your clinic's patients. Let's start with the clinic itself. Clinic appearance, waiting room and reception. Whenever you have a moment, pretend you're a patient and walk through your clinic's front door and ask yourself, does this area look welcoming and orderly? A well-maintained waiting room should first and foremost be clean. In other words, no signs of trash, spilled drinks, unsightly stains, etc. Look around for ripped magazines, outdated flyers, or other notices. Old notices and other announcements not only look messy, but they can also confuse patients if they're referring to information which is no longer relevant at this time. Just to be clear though, in most practices, those who work at the front desk aren't ultimately responsible for general maintenance and cleaning of the waiting room. Instead, most practices have a dedicated cleaning staff which manages that responsibility. However, everyone in the clinic, including those who work at the front desk, should pitch in and help maintain the areas which are open to the public. But if significant cleaning is needed, or the chairs or other furniture appear stained or damaged, bring that to the attention of your manager so that they can get your clinic's cleaning crew involved. Next, let's talk about our workspace at the front desk. Our work area should be just as organized and professional as the waiting room. There should be no visible food or snacks. Generally speaking, most practices discourage eating at your desk even when patients aren't in the clinic, as doing so can leave behind strong odors that can be unpleasant for patients. Many practices are okay with having a beverage, like water or coffee, with you during the workday, but keeping them at your desk should be done tastefully, discreetly, and out of sight of the patients you're assisting. It's also important to keep notes and paperwork well organized. Although most practices have converted to electronic medical records, we often find ourselves printing out referrals and other paperwork, which can look messy if not well organized. If your practice still uses paper registration forms, try to keep the registration packets stocked and organized. So that's the clinic's appearance. Let's move on to our appearance and attitude. First is our appearance. Every clinic has its own established dress code, and you should follow your practice guidelines for attire, hygiene, hair, and even fragrances. If you didn't already know, strong perfumes or colognes should generally be avoided, especially in dermatology, as they can trigger allergies in some patients. But arguably more important than our physical appearance is how we carry ourselves when interacting with patients. Let's start with tone of voice and nonverbal communication. Although it sounds a bit esoteric, the energy we give off to others can have a huge influence on how they perceive their interactions with us. When our energy is positive and empathetic, patients can pick up on that. But they can also sense our stress and frustration when we're having a bad day. Sometimes these energy cues are subtle, but that doesn't make them any less important. Little things like tone of voice, facial expressions, and body language collectively express this energy that others can sense. Positive energy is expressed through a warm tone. Greet patients with genuine friendliness and speak at a calm, moderate pace. Even a quick smile or nod helps them feel acknowledged. Positive body language. Patients can sense when our words don't match our body language. For example, if you say, "I'm happy to see you today," but your facial expressions suggest otherwise, patients notice. So try to keep an open posture, make eye contact, and avoid negative gestures like frowning, sighing, or even rolling your eyes. This actually brings up a tip which some may find helpful. Consider keeping a mirror placed at your desk, even if just for a few days. The reason is because sometimes we make funny faces or gestures that we don't even realize we make. So if you find that others tend to respond to you as if they're sensing that you're angry, frustrated, or upset, you may be surprised to discover that they're actually responding to your facial gestures and body language. We certainly don't want to obsess on our appearance, but again, keeping a mirror at the desk for even just a few days may help you learn more about your own little quirks and idiosyncrasies. Mindfulness. Demonstrating mindfulness with respect to customer service means that when you're assisting a patient, they should feel that your focus is on helping them and not on anyone or anything else. In all honesty, this is one of the more difficult challenges you'll face in this position. Working at the front desk, you'll often find yourself juggling multiple responsibilities. While patients are checking in, the phone may also be ringing, and the doctor or your other coworkers may be asking you for assistance. Even though you may feel overwhelmed at times, the key is to avoid expressing your overwhelm with the patient. You may have heard the analogy before about being like a duck on the water. Although behind the scenes, we may be paddling away, just trying to keep up with our multiple responsibilities. Above water or with the patient, we should maintain a calm appearance, focused on our interaction with the patient. Professionalism. Professionalism at the front desk, above all, starts with keeping our conversations professional. Not only those conversations which are held with the patient, but also those which are held between clinic employees within earshot of the patient. Every practice manager can recall a few unfortunate horror stories about staff members who carried on a conversation within earshot of patients, when in reality, the content of the discussion was very inappropriate and not meant for the patients to hear. This includes overly personal conversations, gossip, or really anything else that just doesn't belong in the professional setting of a medical clinic. Empathetic attitude and demeanor. Empathy is one of the most important requirements of good customer service. We should always keep in mind that patients may be arriving to the clinic nervous, frustrated, or in pain. For example, when patients arrive late for their appointment, we can't assume they're late simply because they misjudged their travel time. For all we know, they may be facing challenges that we can't possibly imagine. You may have heard the saying, "Everyone you meet is fighting a battle you know nothing about." That sentiment applies to customer service more than any other. We truly don't know all of the challenges that any given patient is facing, so always err on the side of kindness and understanding. And empathy should be shown in all aspects of patient interactions. Is a patient struggling to open the door? Help them. Are they having a hard time reading the paperwork in front of them? Offer to help them understand. Let's go over some of the more challenging customer service situations. Starting with wait times. Sometimes it's not the patient's